Good morning. Happy Friday from an absolutely Baltic Dublin. I hope you and yours are well wherever you are in the world. Really excited to be joined by Constance, somebody who I have only recently met. We met at the recent FAMQ summit in Strasbourg last year, and we got on so well that we decided hopefully we'll end up doing some work together. And certainly we wanted to share the magic that she does. So here she is, just coming in now. I'm just going to add her. As we chat, please do pop them in the box, and I will try and get to them. Sorry, we'll just wait for the technology now to work. I think it should be working now. Super. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Pretty good. Excited that we have this live here on Instagram.
It's your first live?
No, it's not. I have from time to time also some lives, and
I misheard. Sorry, but the first one for me of 2024, is it your first one of 2024?
Absolutely, it's my first one in 2024 too.
And how is it? Are you in Germany? You're back from Hawaii?
I'm back from Hawaii, and it feels like I fall off the paradise, and it's cold, and I have pretty much a 40 degrees drop here, and so trying to adjust to it. Yeah.
So you're wearing all your clothes at once, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, look, it's so lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on and be my first live guest of 2024. It's lovely to have you. Will you, for just the purposes of people who don't know you and even who do know you, I think it's always nice to take the time to introduce ourselves again. So will you introduce yourself, please?
Absolutely. Yeah, my name is Constance. I'm from Berlin, and my brand is called Unashamedly Feminine, which is in German Unverschämt weiblich, and it means like being sassy on one hand, and on the other hand, in German there is this word shame, and even in English is the word shame in it. And I totally believe that shame is something which is ingrained in us and is actually holding us back.
Yeah.
And so I called it Unashamedly Feminine, and I guide women to reconnect with their wisdom and overcome the shame and just be who they are in their uniqueness.
Amazing. I love that. And how did you get into this work? Because it wasn't always your path. My understanding from, I know we only just met a few months ago, but my understanding of your career path certainly was that you were in a corporate world for a long time. Wasn't that right?
That's absolutely right. I was for more than 20 years a sales manager, and I worked in the corporate field. I leaded teams mainly or only of men, and not only. There had been few women, but yeah, I have been in the corporate world. I was in charge of 100 million euros, and at this time I didn't realize that I missed something in my life until, and I like this story very much, my sister came across and said, my customer told me that you need to meet this woman, which is a shaman. Like, who is your customer? I mean, your customer don't even know me. How is he coming up to have this suggestion? And so first I was a little bit like, not sure. And at this time, I didn't realize I missed something. And so later, actually, I followed his advice, saw that woman, and this opened a total new chapter in my life. I could feel and experience how powerful it actually is to be in circles of women.
Yeah.
And just this morning, I realized, if he wouldn't have told me to do that, even he doesn't know me, he didn't know me at this time, I would probably have gone a totally different path.
Yeah.
And so through that, it opened a totally new door for me. And this morning I was realizing, I experienced that feeling of sisterhood. Yeah. Until that, it was more like, okay, we women are fighting each other. We are challenging with each other. Mm-hmm. But through that, I experienced actually that we can lie in each other's arm and nourish each other. And this made such a big difference in my life.
And you're getting such lovely messages. Yes,
Yes,
for the sisterhood.
totally,
And it's
totally.
true. And it's true. And I think it's our instinctive way to be with each other. But sometimes it hasn't always been my experience, I have to say, but I know, you know, for example, when you have children going to school, they're like, oh, the mums at the school gate are all really horrible. No, they're not. They're lovely. What are you talking about? You know, but what I'm hearing you say is you worked in a largely masculine environment. Sales is intrinsically masculine with the drive and the metrics and all of that, and you were surrounded by mostly men. And I'm fascinated that somebody that you hadn't even met knew to and how lovely to give you that gift of completely changing your life path.
Totally. Yeah, it totally is. I have goosebumps on that.
Yeah.
And through that, yeah. You know, and even the other thing was like I wasn't missing something from a mind perspective, because I always had been like the queen bee in, you know, I was the one who guided the man. And so but then I realized there comes a different magic into it. And actually through that, I could experience my own magic.
Yeah.
I got connected to my gifts, healing with hands and stuff like that. And so, this really opened a new layer of myself.
So what did you do? Like, how soon did you make that transition from corporate world to what you do now?
Mm-hmm. First of all, you know, as I started, and it was back in 2011, through that, I started my own healing journey in a way. And so the first 4 years, I was really dedicated to that, my inner healing. And so I would even say 7 years or something. And in 2019, I left the corporate world forever because now I felt ripe in a way to have my own business.
I love that.
And
yeah, so gorgeous. Yeah. So you seesawed it. So you kept going with the sales, with the corporate, with the security of what you knew, while at the same time doing this inner work.
Absolutely, yeah. One part of me just needed to have the security, you know. Even now, it also took like after I left the corporate world, it almost took 1 year until I came out of my hiding. You know, it took 1 year until I really changed my profile, because all the time I thought, and I was already doing quite good work, and but I didn't feel ready to show up actually. You know, it took 1 year until I changed my LinkedIn profile and to allowed myself to be seen. Even I already had like clients, and I worked with my clients. But it was this transition, you know, from a sales manager to someone who's talking about sensuality, sexuality, femininity. And so I needed to become ripe to show up and to be seen. Yeah.
And I think it's a lovely, you know, I do in my work, I talk a lot about beginning work from the inside out. And I think that many of us live life from the outside in, responding to all these stimulus and conditioning. But actually, when we peel back those layers and really start to live from the inside out, we live a more authentic and happy and holistic life. But I think there has to be balance, because we still have to live in the real world. And also when you're making changes, fundamental is that you have to give yourself time to recalibrate the inner and the outer worlds. And it's not just really a ripping off the plaster kind of a thing. You really need to lean into that wisdom and give it time. And as you say, wait until you're ripe. I love that word. I'm definitely going to borrow it with my clients if I may. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So tell me what you do now with your lucky clients. What are, because I know you do quite a number of things. So maybe just share a little bit what they are.
Yeah. So maybe one important thing is that I am a doula. So a doula is someone who's actually guiding women or reminding women in their birthing process of their capacity, of their intuition, of their inner wisdom, and holding the space of that which is in our bones, in our cells. And so this is what I do in the process if I work with someone. I'm holding the space, and through that, they can remember who they actually are. And so
Mm.
I do this in different settings. So one of my favorite program is called Unashamedly, is Coming Home to Your Feminine Nature.
Mm.
And so this is focused on what does it mean to live your femininity for you, not for me, not for all what we have like in the outside. So and a really important part for me is their sensuality, to be reconnected to our senses. And there's also the sexuality part, because I think sexuality meets us on such a deep level of ourselves. And I think if we heal that sexual part of ourselves, then we take back the pieces who actually belong to us. And so this is one part. And then, of course, I have this other part, which is corporate world. And so I have the other program. It's called Unashamedly Successful. And this has more the focus on what is my business? How do I come out of the closet? How do I be seen? How do I show up? What is it? How I want to express myself? And this is this both are programs which, are one-on-one.
One-on-one, okay.
One-on-one, yeah. And then I also have like a monthly workshop. It's called The Power of the Feminine Cycle, because I absolutely believe femininity starts in the moment we reconnect to our cycle. This is the entrance door into our femininity. And we have lost that connection. And so I run every month cycle workshops. I love constellation work. And so I walk women through that cycle, really with the tool of constellation. So you walk your own cycle and you experience it, because such an important part for me is that we connect to the somatic. We have so many things in our mind, but we need to, I believe it's important to drop back in our body and to connect to the wisdom which is in our bones and selves.
Yeah, I would say the same thing to my clients. And it's so important, because not only is it what's in our body and ourselves, but it's what's handed down through our generations. And I know certainly in the Irish Celtic shamanic path, we talk about when we heal 7 generations up the line and 7 generations down the line. And it's just so incredible to think that you can have that impact. And that we do know so much more than we think we know, and particularly through the cycle, not trying to pretend we're men and we're all linear, but actually as women we need, this. I like the wave, the up and down. I like that metaphor. It speaks to me for obvious reasons. But it's just, it's so sad that it's lost, because it used to be revered. We used to be revered, women, and our cycle and what we could do, and in terms of creating life and nurturing and all of that. And then obviously, and we know many of the reasons that got lost, but I think it's incredible how many people are coming back to this and are understanding that actually we don't have to be men, that although we live in a very patriarchal world still, there is still a lot of female wisdom rising, and there's a lot of people going, I don't want to be on that treadmill anymore. That doesn't feel good. And very often it's through some sort of fire, some sort of trauma, some sort of something that brings us home to that. And I have a teenage daughter, and it's just wonderful to see the amount of resources now that are available and how open we can talk about this stuff, where even 1 generation ago that wasn't happening. So there's just so much wisdom and power, and not enough. And it's I suppose the temptation is we want more and more, so that to support people, because I think when you see this stuff you can't unsee it. And supporting women in this way also allows us to support our men folk, because nobody wins in patriarchy. So what do you see as being the biggest challenges that your clients face in this coming home to themselves, in being able to show up in the world as they want to really authentically be in this reconnection to their inner wisdom?
So the biggest challenge, I think, is, the way we have been brought up, created that feeling that I'm not right. And so this feeling of not being right, not trusting my inner voice is such a big thing. And and this plays out in so many fields of our life. We have the feeling we are too much, too less, whatever, too loud, too silent.
Yeah.
So, and this can be in the business background, but it also plays out in the sexuality. And so, unashamedly is actually also like, for me, it is the wholeness of my being. It is being myself and allowing myself to speak up, to find a voice and to voice what is actually going on with me. And I always see that, women are so afraid to connect to their feelings and then speak them. And so another part which is related to it is like how often we actually say yes to things where we actually mean no. And so I train them. Yeah. So I train them to see what it actually feels like if we say yes to something where we actually need to say no, and how hard it actually is to say no, because we have such a look. We just want to keep the connection. We can't even imagine that if we speak our truth and that this actually deepens our connection instead of breaking it. And so this is also a really, really big part. And then, of course, related to that is trauma and what I have experienced in my childhood. And sometimes we think these are little things, but they have such a big impact on our life. And it's actually not, we underestimate the impact, So my own healing journey is a journey of being numb in two of my legs and having really heavy back problems. And I realized the numbness and the illnesses came from I didn't want to deal with the emotion which were underlying. So I also love to work if illnesses are arising, because this is an opportunity of your body saying, no, we don't want to do this any longer. And so I work with this and look with the people into why is that.
And sometimes I think when people have finally made a change and their life is different, then they think, oh, I've made it now, then their body becomes sick. And it's because, in my understanding of it, and certainly what the doctors in the clinic in Switzerland would have explained to me, your body's been holding on so long, and then when finally it feels safe to, in the new environment, in an environment that allows you to thrive, it allows itself to relax, and for whatever, call it bad energy, or just I don't like that word, bad energy, but the energy that doesn't need to be there, the wrong energy, maybe it needs to come, so it needs to come out, and it can come out in all sorts of different ways. But it's amazing we can keep holding on until we just can't hold on anymore. And very often it's the straw that breaks the camel's back in terms of what that event is. But it's real. And again, I think it circles us back to that wisdom of your body knows. And, as Basil van der Kolk's book, The Body Keeps the Score, it's all in there. And we know that now. I mean, Gabor Mate, I know that from my own experience. And sometimes, you said the same thing. You weren't unhappy in the work you were doing. Everything seemed fine. You didn't know that you were missing anything because you were living as a good little girl, being conditioned, to how you were supposed to, you get the big job and then you get a bigger job and then you keep going, and it's all. And I was the same before I got sick. I was thriving business, happy marriage, gorgeous kids, busy social life, everything great. And what I didn't realize was that I had no time for myself. I was absolutely bloody exhausted, and until I had, my illness, you don't really take that time to recalibrate your life. And I think the work that you and I do a lot is to try and explain to people that don't get to the big crisis situation. As you're saying, the little small changes can have huge impact, and maybe people outside of your own body don't need to know that you're doing this work, but it allows you to engage with life in a different way and to enjoy life in a different way. And I think, we don't need to do these massive big changes, or not everybody needs to give up a corporate career or reimagine themselves. You can still make changes to reconnect with yourself and to really thrive and flourish with, just as you say, these small changes. I think that's really important that people know that.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I think, as you speaking, it is in my mind. The other day, new year, new things. So I was cleaning up my bathroom, and I got into all the pills, and I was throwing away all my pills because I haven't used them for really quite a long time anymore. I'm like, actually, the things, I don't need them anymore.
Yeah.
And it was so obvious to me, and it's so normal. Just take a pill, and to go back to work. Yeah. And it made me realize, we things we don't even have, or I didn't even have, like, it felt so normal. Of course, let's take a pill and I'm gonna go to a business trip. But is this right?
No.
Yeah, it's not. And so, I mean, even back then, it never crossed my mind that there would be no other opportunity.
Yeah.
And now, as I came back to myself, I know there is another opportunity. There is another choice. And I don't need those pills anymore to function.
Yeah. It's because, and what those pills are doing, and of course there's some times when of course you're going to need a pill, but not on that kind of weekly basis, because what you're doing there is you're masking the somatic wisdom, what your body is trying to tell you. Like, I didn't get sick overnight. I had years of ignoring all those symptoms, because I didn't know. Like, I literally didn't know that there, as you're saying, that there could be another way. I didn't know how to receive help. I didn't know how to say no. I literally just didn't know. Like, I'm embarrassed when I think about how I was living, but like, I just did not know any other way. And so I think it's important not to have shame around that, or not to have, I think it's just important that to understand, to have compassion, that all behavior makes sense, and that you do the best you can with the knowledge that you have. And then when you know better, like anybody else, hopefully you do better. But yeah, that's so interesting, the pills. I resonate with that a lot. Yeah.
It was such a open eye opener for me.
Yeah. Amazing.
And so, maybe I would like to bring also another part in, even if you are in the corporate world, at work, let's put it this way, it doesn't need to be the corporate world. I believe we must somehow, because we separate private life into and business life, and we only put certain parts of ourselves into the business life. I totally believe it changed already because of COVID, and we could just through Zoom into our homes. And I remember, and it's not only a thing about women, it's also about men. I remember one of my last workshops I had with a big corporation. So I got trained in sales, and I was already like working on me, already like had clients and stuff. And I remember that I said in this, I was already aware of somatic, and I saw myself saying that what you teach brings stomach ache to me, and it has and like the minute I said it, I thought, why I'm saying that? I mean, is this appropriate in that environment? Yeah, I'm like always pushing, taking back my word, but it already was said. And so then we have a break, And in the break, I went outside and was looking into nature. And so my big colleague was standing next to me, and he smoked, and really he said like, what you said, I really like it. I feel the same. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? I mean, I thought all the time you are this big guy who knows it all, who always felt like Teflon to me. And it's always seemed that everything is
the slide
it's
off
not
easily,
sliding off, not
effortless.
touching him. Yeah. And it was so revealing to me, and it was really such a pressure moment. And I thought, oh, interesting. I'm glad I said it. Now I can see it differently. I'm glad that it spoke itself, and I couldn't just pull it back.
And I see that in my clients all the time. These people who seemingly have it all, but not really anyone wants that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Totally. Yeah.
I think it's amazing just to be able to speak that truth, and it sounds like it was spoken through you. And did that person, have they made changes, or are they still no that you know of?
Yeah, I think I think he didn't made changes, and I totally believe that's even harder for men to do these changes, because of course we talk about patriarchy, and on the other hand, is it what does it really take for them to adjust? To show their vulnerability. I mean, who had to teach them this vulnerability? So, and I think even for them, they need to be the warrior. Yeah. And is it possible that a warrior can also be vulnerable?
Yeah, of course it is, but not in the wisdom that they're taught. Yeah. And so, and I'm just conscious of your time. If we, we've people listening here live, and people who watch the playback, and people are thinking, okay, I want to start making small changes, man or woman. What do you advise them to do in terms of the baby steps, in terms of the listening, in terms of, just starting on this path, or deepening a practice? What do you think are some good things to do or think about, or what would you recommend?
I would say start with 3 minutes of breathing.
Thanks for that.
So I have three things: breath, sound, movement.
Okay.
This is and so if we connect to this, so breath is actually, it is the way of coming back to to our body. Breath, and really deep breath, to sit and just drop from the mind into the body. And I really like to take the hand and put it on the womb, and imagine I would breathe from the womb, and so this drops me into my body. And then the other thing is like, take your voice, sing and dance for 3 minutes. This is also a really easy thing to do. We can just bring it into our daily life, and it's really easy. And then maybe you take 1 more minute and feel how you feel afterwards, and to compare how it was before and how it was afterwards.
I love that. So the movement, the sound, the breathing, so important. And really, I believe in Africa, one of my shamanic teachers told me that he was sitting in a tribe there, and he was told a saying that they have, which is, when we're happy, we dance, and when we're sad, we dance. Because it's all energy, right? And it's all just, it's not even labeling it good or bad or anything isn't useful, but it's about passing it through. And for me, I find staying out of the story can be really helpful. While stories are wonderful and they can unify us and teach us, but sometimes we don't need the story. We just need to let the energy pass through us, through sound, through movement, through breath, and just really connect to, for me, when we connect with our inner world, it's actually, you're connecting with the universe. You're connecting with this massive part. It's not just a a narcissistic practice of just thinking about yourself. It's actually the gateway to the universe. And
Yeah.
yeah, and people say, oh, I can't meditate, my mind wanders, and that's okay. We don't need perfection. Everybody's mind wanders when they meditate, even the most practiced of people. So we all have good and bad days, but I think that what you're saying, the movement and the sound and the breath, really can just bring us home.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm,
And I believe that dancing is the meditation of women.
yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to sit still. It is more that we sensually dance. And this is our meditation. I do it for myself, and really within a second, I have new ideas, new thoughts. Yeah, we are not made, I believe, to sit still as
No.
women.
No, as people, I don't think and I think this comfort crisis, this sedentary life, we know that it doesn't do us any good. And so, yeah, it's not about, again, if that's your job and that's what you need to do, that's okay. But it's really about building in these practices. And as you and I know, 3 minutes can really start a revolution. So if people want to work with
Yeah.
you directly, I know you said you work one-to-one. Do you do those one-to-one sessions in person and online, or how does it work?
Yeah.
And then we can do
So
workshops.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I do it like online and in one-on-one. If
Okay.
people live in Berlin, they work with me in one-on-one, but I have clients all around. So and then they do like one-on Zoom sessions with me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And what about the workshops? Is that the same kind of thing? Do you mix that up?
Yeah. So I have like in Berlin, I have like every month in-person workshop. And on the cycle, I run retreats which are called like little retreats over the weekend, which are called Juicy Wild Woman. And
That.
yeah, same here. I run them. I will start soon to run them also online. And yeah, I mix it because I have people from everywhere, so I mix it. I also do the cycle workshop in online. Yeah.
Online. Okay, okay. And that's another way, really, for women, isn't it? To start coming home to themselves, starting to notice just how you feel on a certain day. What day do you typically ovulate? What day, that kind of thing. Because I know people can be like, oh, that's why I've had a headache every day for that, and it's really just about understanding, because we don't, yeah, we're not all identical. And it's really, I think there's something around taking responsibility for ourselves, and then there's huge freedom that comes with that responsibility.
Yeah.
um yeah, yeah, I don't know if you can see the comments. There's something coming
Yeah,
in
I see.
German
Yeah.
and I don't know what it means. Sorry.
Says
I
lovely
don't know.
greetings, Klaus. Hello, lovely greetings to you.
Okay. Sorry, I have no idea. I don't speak German. I did one summer in Dusseldorf and I learned how to say, would you like, how many scoops would you like? And would you like it in a cup or a cone? And that was it. So brilliant. And finally, just one more question, because I know I'm already over time, but what's the one thing you wish you'd known at the beginning of this journey?
One thing I would love to know. It never ends. That the inner work never ends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes you say, "Okay, now I have it." No,
No,
next
no.
layer, peeling an onion.
And then it's the spiral, isn't it? It just comes around again. Now, the good news is we don't put people up starting the work, but the good news is that you spiral quicker, and you come out. Yeah, you come out sooner. And you don't have to go as deep. Oh, your friend is apologizing there. You don't need to apologize for speaking German. I should be apologizing for that. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, but I think it allows, yeah, these people are saying it allows us to go deeper and deeper, and it brings color to the world, and it brings peace and ease and joy, and it's so worth it. It's not, people often think that phrase, doing the work, it sounds hard, and it can be hard, but it's also where you laugh the deepest and cry the deepest, but move the deepest and experience the most joy, in my experience anyway.
Totally.
And you can tell the people who have been on their path, and you connect just so quickly and easily, don't you?
And then you connect deeper and deeper. That's really like instantly you have the idea, wow, I know it. We know each other. We have such a deep connection. And that's really, it brings deeper, it brings love in and compassion for me. Compassion for myself. And through the self-compassion, I have a deeper and wider capacity to have compassion for others too.
And I mean, what a perfect note to end on, because we just so need so much more compassion in the world. And if we don't have it for ourselves, we can't have it for everybody else. Pain begets pain, and there's enough pain in the world. So I really do think it's important that we start with ourselves, that self-compassion piece, and allow it to ripple out into the world. And the more of us that do that, I think that's the secret to world peace, to solving all the things. We really do have to start with our own inner landscape. Yeah.
Thank you very, very much, Leisha. This was really wonderful. Thanks for our talk.
I loved having you on. Thank you so much. And I know we have a meeting with Kerry on Monday, so I'm looking forward to seeing what more magic we do. Yeah, thank you both. So valuable. I'm going to dance now. I love that. We should all have a little
Let's dance. I will do it too.
Okay, have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye, darling. Bye. Bye.